and then I'm going to show you how to shim the Bowden tube in case you have to. Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you all for being part of it. If you would like to donate to the channel or buy a sticker or t-shirt, slip down in the description or the website scrolling up the screen. Today, we're going to go ahead and do a clutch cable installation. And I'll show you how to adjust the Bowden tube because sometimes the cables are too long or they're not adjusted properly. We're going to go over clutch adjustment, clutch pedal, and also your master cylinder push rod tube, okay? The push pin that goes from the pedal into the master. So let's go ahead and get on it.
Hey everybody, it's Dan Ledbetter from VW Trends Magazine. Check out what Slade has to say.
Are you subscribed to VW Trends Magazine? If you're not, pop down in the description and please get yours. So some things you see me do, I'm going to remove the door. I'm going to remove the fender in the back because I only have 3 bolts holding it on, and a couple of things. The reason I do that, you do not do this. My seat's out of the way. I'm filming, so I go through a lot more than what you're going to that way so that I can get good camera angles for you folks. So I'm going to speed that up real quick, that part, and then we'll jump on it. Okay, so first things first, you'll want to get a new clutch cable. Most important, obviously yours either broke or you're doing maintenance. Make sure you get a new wing nut. Don't put on just a normal nut, and here's why. These are beveled. See the bevel? Okay, and I'm going to show you why you need to have that bevel and the wing nut. Whenever we get close to the transmission, I'll show you on the arm, it's recessed. That nut fits inside of there and locks. Now you can run a locking nut on it if you would like to, but highly unlikely anything's going to happen with tension on the cable, the bevel from that nut inside the arm holding in place. So had to bring that up. Always got a lot of useless knowledge. Now you're going to safely support your car on jack stands. You're going to slip underneath the car. Like I said, you don't have to remove the fender and stuff. I'm filming, so it's completely different. Go underneath, and as I show here where the wing nut is on the clutch cable, and hold that and then turn it. I can turn it at first without holding the cable because it's so loose. Go ahead and remove that wing nut. Take that off first before you even get inside the car. Get that off of there, and then we'll move to the inside. All right, first thing is first, we're going to go ahead and remove the pedal assembly. Now, ignore that. I put that on reverse. I wanted to try something, but it didn't work out. Your master cylinder push rod tube, you'll remove the clip on it. I have mine off already because I was trying to modify something. I didn't like the way it turned out. You're going to take your 2 bolts off, okay? And you're going to start sliding the pedal assembly out. So I'm going to show you that right now. There's going to be a lot of important tips I'm going to go over during this process, so I'll try to keep it as short as I can. But let's go ahead and remove those 2 bolts. These 2 bolts are a 17 millimeter. Obviously, I don't have a cable hooked up. Let's get on the back one. It's hard to stay out of the way of the camera, in all honesty, but I try my best. Get your push rod out of the way. You're going to pull the pedal assembly out. Now, I've had mine in and out for rebuilding the cluster. You're going to have a hook on yours that looks like this. Okay, you're going to unhook your clutch cable, just leave it hang there for now, and get your pedal assembly out of the way. I'll explain why mine looks different. Now, you're looking at mine going, that's weird. Yeah, mine has a nut on it with a shaft, because when you're taking the clutch cable off, that's fine, you're unhooking it. But when you're putting it in and putting it in the car, and the clutch cable keeps falling off because it's only on a little hook, you're going to get frustrated. I did the pedal extender, and you can also opt out, or opt in, I should say, for this style. And I like this better. You put it on, tighten it up, and when you slide the clutch cable in and your pedal assembly, it can't pop off. I like that. And it made a difference on the pedals being spaced apart. It really does make a difference. See the difference between them? It's easier for people with big feet. So that's why mine looks slightly different. If you have the hook one, no big deal. So remember, we're going to go over clutch adjustment and push rod tube adjustment. What we're going to do first is put some grease on the cable. Can't hurt. I'm going to grease a little as it's going in, so I just don't end up with grease all over the place. This is a good thick tacky grease that I'm getting all over the place. Now you're going to fill inside of this hole a tube for the clutch cable to go into. Come on. There we go. And I'll speed this up because I'm going to keep greasing it up as I push it through. Push a little bit and struggle for it to start through the Bowden tube. But once I jiggled around and kept shoving it in that, it broke through, technically speaking, and went up there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hook it up to the pedal assembly, and then we can push the cable further to get up through the arm. So let's go do that next. And then I'm going to show you how to shim the Bowden tube in case you have to. Now keep in mind, I have to remove my pedal assembly back out because I got to lay carpet and finish spraying the dashboard and getting that all done. So I'm not going to mess with the spring or anything like that right now. I'm just showing you how to get the clutch cable in and adjust it. Like I said, we're going to go over the adjustment on the push rod tube or pin, and we're going to go over clutch adjustment also. But I'm going to go ahead, trying to not get in front of that. Now, if you have a hook, basically just going to hook that onto your clutch pedal assembly, okay? And then you're going to push it in. Now mine is different because I did get the aftermarket one, which is really convenient. Let me go around the other side. Well, I can't do that. I got stuff in the way. I am going to put a little grease around that bushing. Okay. We're going to hook this on here, just like that. Remember, if you have a hook, you're just hooking it on. No big deal. Don't panic. Although I would really like to see a lot of people use these. Even if you don't get the pedal extension, you can do this. And it's easier than the clutch cable coming unhooked when you're trying to get it in. Give me 1 second here. Now at this point, if you need to, you can go back and pull your cable to keep it taut. If you are still using the old style with the hook lever, you're going to need somebody at the back to keep it pulled taut or the cable will come off. I went into the back, gave it a little pull. got to fuss around a little bit to get it inside. I'm going to pull the cable again. Okay, and we are in there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just loosely bolt it up just for a moment because, like I said, I got to pull mine back out to lay the carpeting. However, that's when you're going to hook your spring, flip your spring around and hook it just like it came apart. And you're going to put your push rod tube on. So we'll go over the adjustment on that towards the end. Let's go ahead and get this bolted in place. Flip your brake pedal up and your clutch pedal so they hit the stop. Get our 17mm boot started. The other one, hopefully my head's not in your way. Now at this point, you should already have your pin into your plunger where you can hook this on, put your clip on. Then you're going to go ahead and take a pair of needle nose and bring your spring up around and hook it onto here. Okay, make sure these are against your pedal stop. Let me tighten this up a minute. A lot of times I still have stuff to do, but somebody asked me about clutch cable installation, although they have the regular hook arm, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Make sure you tighten your back one. Your pedals are against the stop. Also know, if one of your pedals don't seem right, they're down too far, up too far, that pedal stop on the floor is adjustable. Okay, even your factory one should be a little adjustable. So we have that in place. Now we're going to go over a few things at the back. We're going to go ahead and see if our Bowden tube needs adjusted and what we have to do. So we are at the back, and let me explain here. If in fact, and I just need to push the arm a little there to get the nut started, no big deal. Now, if in fact this threads were sticking way out to here and there was no threads right here, like this part here was here, then all as you do is take your Bowden tube, okay? And you would pull your cable back down through. I know it's pain, but if it needs done, it needs done. If you can see, there's a flat washer here. The way that you can adjust these to have more, like to shorten the cable up, and I'll show you in a second, you pull your Bowden tube down through and put a couple more flat washers on here. You could see the one I have. See it spinning? You would just stack more flat washers between the Bowden tube and the bracket. And once you do that, then you will have space. You only have to do that if this part here is clear up here, that angle. So if this part is coming through here, just adjust your Bowden tube. Now mine's not doing that. Actually, I feel like I need a little more cable, which don't make sense to me, but I'm going to spin the nut on for now. I can always open the pedal assembly back up and see if it's cocked a little where I tightened that bolt. So you're going to go ahead and put your nut on. You can hear it bumping. It's falling into that bevel. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to adjust your clutch pedal. Now, I'd already did previous videos, so watch this real quick. Come in from the driver's side of the vehicle. This is the driver's side. And you're going to come in, and here's your arm on your transmission. It's on the driver's side. Here's the adjusting nut. You can probably fit a little hex head wrench on here, but I can't get my arm up through there because I'm filming. So the camera's in the way of me getting my one arm up, and hold that and then turn it. I can turn it at first without holding the cable because it's so loose. So you're going to turn clockwise to start tightening it up to give it tension. It's hard to ratchet an extension and a clutch cable and nut with them when they're going long distances, just in case you would break one. Okay, so let's go inside the car. Okay, so we're gonna see what the resistance is like. I still got a ways to go. I can feel resistance right there. But we want 1/2 to 3/4, and we'll end up putting our ruler against here, and that's how we're going to find out where our free play is. Okay? Okay, so we gotta go tighter. Uh-oh. Oh, nope. There we go. It's going to be too much, but I'll measure it anyhow. I'll show you this up close when I'm done. But we're at 8.5. Oh, I think I nailed it. I'll show you in a minute. Hang tight. Don't bully me. 8.5. The resistance as at 8. So that's my 1/2 inch right there. Somehow I got lucky and nailed it. Yeah, that's how you adjust your clutch pedal. So the clutch cable's in. You may or may not have had to adjust your Bowden tube. I told you how to do that with the flat washers. It's not hard to do. So now we're going to talk about the push rod real quick, and then I'll let you go. So what are we going to discuss with the clutch cable adjustment? The push rod, the one that goes right there, right through there. And you want to make sure this is okay. Now, don't start touching this or loosening it up. That's a lock nut and it threads in and out. Don't touch this. The only reason I'm bringing it up, if you have your brake lights, they will not go out. Sometimes that can be the brake light switches, or sometimes it could be pedal pressure. And I did run into that before, 2 times. The reason I'm bringing it up, don't touch it if it's working fine. But while you got your pedal assembly out, if your brake lights will not go out after you start driving the car for a little bit and everything kind of warms up and you're building up pedal pressure, if you let off the brakes and the car won't move and your e-brake is not on, okay, then your master cylinder push rod needs adjusted. Do not touch it if you don't have to. I repeat this, you're on your own if you do something stupid. But outside of that, it should have 1 millimeter of play, and I'm going to show you an adjustment right now. This goes onto the brake pedal, clips onto the side, and we'll be going over that in a minute. So when you push the brake, this pushes the piston inside the master cylinder, okay? What that is doing is sitting right in here, okay? So this is on the other side of the firewall. This is hooked to your pedal, and it goes there. So every time you push your brake pedal, this is pushing in, okay? So you're going to push in on the piston, and that's what activates the brakes. So that should make sense to you. But there's a lot you need to know about this. You're supposed to have 1 millimeter of free play between here, okay? Which means before this bottoms out in the piston, there should be 1 millimeter of gap. You need a little bit of free play before it actually hits. As you can see, is pushing in on the piston in the master cylinder. Now remember, the brake pedal free play, okay, is the amount of movement. See that? Okay, that's the amount of movement before the push rod, this here, touches the piston on the master cylinder. It's kind of a distinctive feel, okay? But if you use your hand like I am, you can tell. Okay, right there. See that? Your piston is not being depressed yet. That is just the pedal free play. And that free play should be between 5 and 7 millimeter. And what that should amount to is 1 millimeter of play on the push rod before it touches the piston. Now here is the best way I can explain it. The distance of that gap is like extremely critical, because it can assure that after that braking piston comes back far enough, it releases the pressure and it doesn't cause the braking system to have pressure and be applied. So that little bit of free play, it may not seem like much, but it is. All right. So let me show you something else now. When you are trying to do your measurement of 5 to 7 millimeter of just play, you can hear it. It ain't doing anything but a little bit of play. Just take a measuring stick, put it against your firewall. I call it the front firewall. And then go ahead and push and see how much play you have. It should be between 5 and 7 millimeter once again. And when you have 5 to 7 millimeter at the pedal, you should have 1 millimeter of play. See that? Which I still have to measure mine, but I'm not done yet working on the car, obviously. You should have 1 millimeter down there. So that's how that works. Yeah, that was a prior video I did, but I always like to bring stuff up along the way. I know it drives you people crazy, but I try to do stuff as reminders. So if that needs adjusted, now's the time to do it. So there is your pedal assembly back installed. Remember, you got to hook your spring up around and put your push rod tube on. There is a rubber that goes around here to protect the push rod. Now, I got to pull mine back out. That's why I didn't go too far with that part, because I'm going to put a new roller pedal on it, thanks to Adam Gray. And it's a nice, thick, heavy one from Top Line. And I got to lay the carpeting. So that's why I didn't fully assemble that. Also, if you've been following for a while, I had a padded dash, and I'm switching over to metal, obviously. Now, I did go ahead and plug the holes, boink, 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 from the padded dash. That one's plugged because I'm not putting nothing there. I'll be putting a cigarette lighter down there, or a power port, whatever you call that. So the weather's finally broke as of today. So next week, you'll see a video of me speeding it up, sanding everything down, and then I won't slow it down when I'm painting. We're finally going to get the dash painted because we got up to 70 degrees. It's been a long winter. Make sure while this is apart to check inside that hole and make sure the spacers are in there like you see here. There is where the master came out of. That is a double firewall. You have metal here and then another layer on the inside. Sorry, I bumped the camera. You see that long spacer there? Yeah. Don't lose those. If they fall down, get a magnet, pick them back up. They can't fall that far. Clean them up real good and make sure them bolts go through them spacers. If not, you can lose your brakes in a panic stop. I'll explain in a second. Because if not, you can crush the firewall and get hurt. So that was your clutch cable install with lots of tips and advice and tricks. I hope that helped out, especially with the Bowden tube. Yes, we are back to 70 degrees. Oh, thank God. I need to get this car done. So we'll be going ahead and painting the dash this upcoming week, weather permitting. If not, we'll go on to something else. I'm going to show you how to do a 4-wheel alignment at home for like $40. And it's not with a string. It's completely different, and it'll benefit a lot of you folks. So see you Sunday night in live chat from the garage, back again up the garage for live chats on Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So I'll see you then.